Ash just made a case for God based on tons of things, and I wanted to make a case for why miracles can happen. So, a miracle is something that's done by God. For this definition, I'm going to give you another definition later. This definition is something that is done by God which violates the law of nature. So, if God made something levitate, this would be a miracle because it violates, like gravity, violates the law of nature. To prove miracles happen apart from God, it'd be kind of hard, but I think Ash has demonstrated that we have good reason to believe God exists. So I'm going to be making my case based on the assumption that God exists and has the qualities that Ash said he has. He just listed all those qualities. Thanks, Ash. So with this in mind, I think this idea that miracles can't happen, like it goes away almost immediately. You see, because if God has created nature, he also established the laws that govern them. Ash discussed earlier in another session, not be created nor destroyed. But science has already shown us that the universe was created. It had a beginning, which means it used to not exist. And so we already know of at least one miracle, something that violated the laws of nature. And I'm going to talk about this later. Furthermore, with this idea, we can begin to see that God being outside of the universe, he's not bound by the rules of it. Remember, Ash said that one of God's qualities was he's immaterial, he's supernatural, he's outside of nature. And so I'm going to give an example, kind of an illustration of this idea. Some homes, they have a rule where everyone must take off their shoes. Imagine it was literally impossible, and this is only if you live in the house. If you live in the house, you literally have no other option but to take off your shoes. Now imagine a coworker, someone who doesn't live in the house, comes in for dinner. Well, because they're not a member of the house, someone who lives there, they're a guest, the rules aren't exactly the same for them. So if they decided to keep their shoes on, they might break the rules of the house and of the members, but they're a guest. They don't have to abide by them. And so in this illustration, we just see that humans are the members and that the house is the universe and the no shoe rules is the laws of the universe and the guest is God. He doesn't have to abide by these rules because he's not bound by them. God is above the rules. He reigns over them. And I mean, that's literally the whole argument. Claims that miracles cannot happen, they just assume too much on the part of a person objecting to them. When we recognize the existence of God, these impossibilities, they disappear. Okay, so another more scientific illustration, I guess, that of this idea that God is outside of the universe. So right here, I was in chemistry class last year, and we were doing an experiment, and we have this blue solution right here. I want you to imagine that the universe and all that's in it is this blue solution. Now, if you don't believe that there's anything outside of the universe, well, when me and my team members do that, how are you going to explain that? You'll have no explanation. But that's because you're assuming nothing outside of the universe exists. But obviously, in this example, there's things that exist outside of the universe. And so when we see that things can come in and act upon this solution, we sort of see the idea that I'm giving. If God is outside of the universe, why would we assume that miracles can't happen? It just doesn't make any sense. If you like I said, if you deny that me and my team members exist and our chemicals exist, then the original solution, it should never change. But we have observed change to happen. We know that things like this, they just assume too much. But Ash has shown God is outside of the universe. And that's really the main point I'm making. Like I just keep saying it over and over again. Like there's no problem when we realize that God is outside of the universe. Miracles are possible when we don't assume the universe is all there is. I said earlier that it would be difficult to prove miracles without God. I still believe that's true, but I want to try. So let's assume that everything Ash has said these past 4 weeks is wrong. Sorry, Ash. And that there's no evidence for God. I believe we could still scientifically show that the laws of nature have been violated. And I brought this up earlier. And modern astronomy shows that the universe had a beginning. Without using analytical reasoning yet, we already have a miracle. So we derived that the cause of the universe had to have certain qualities. I'm saying let's forget about using our minds like logically and just look at it. And we could already say there's already a miracle right there. So it already challenges this idea that the universe is a closed system, that it's unable to be acted upon. And so my argument for miracles without God is really just saying, let's not go all the way in the Kalam argument that Ash presented and already look at the evidence we have. There's a point in which the universe was created, and therefore we really don't have any grounds to deny miracles because one has already happened where the laws of nature have already been violated.